Captain's Log, Episode 93. This episode of the Beer Avengers podcast is sponsored by the Beer and Cheese Collective, located at 35-11 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens. Enjoy their eclectic array of craft beer, artisanal cheeses, and specialty grocery items at the Beer and Cheese Collective. Home bar to yours truly, Captain Porter Brown Stout. On this 7-pour episode, Huck, Beer Wonder, and Captain welcome Belgian Babe back for a delightful romp talking about all sorts of things, but mostly about a trip to slightly upstate New York, with visits to Ommegang, Catskill Brewery, and most notably, Bovina Farm and Fermentory. That's all I can say here to do it justice. Just listen to the episode. You won't be sorry. Remember to like, star, and subscribe whenever that feels appropriate. And send us your emails at thebeervengers@gmail.com if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you just like hearing us talk about you on the show. And now, without further ado, please enjoy episode 93, Weekend in the Catskills.
Oh, we're the beer Avengers, beer Avengers, beer Avengers.
We're the Beer Avengers.
Welcome to the Beercast, everyone. Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Astoria, Queens. I am Captain Porter Brown Stout.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in Fresno, California, this is the Pale Male, Hophead Huck.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in the County of Kings, it is I, the Beer Wonder.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in Woodside, Queens, I am the Belgian Babe.
And we are
The
Beer Avengers.
That's pretty.
That's right. It was very pretty.
It was
I liked
something.
it.
Yeah.
We did
Pretty.
something. Yeah. Hey, everyone. Yes, we are the Beer Avengers. You are the Beer Avengers. Everyone's a Beer Avenger who wants to be. We're not going to force it on anyone, but
No.
you're always. We have a pretty much of an open door policy.
Consent is sexy, though. Consent is very sexy.
Yes, absolutely. It's one of the sexiest things that exists in the world. Yeah, we're back again for our end of year or beginning of year. I need to look at my calendar depending on when we're releasing. It's about the end of the year here, and so this is our last one we're recording this year, and so we thought we'd come, do one, and welcome back Belgian Babe, who is here. Always welcome here. Don't listen to those people who say she's on here too much. They're just jealous.
What?
Rude. Have you been talking to Nutpool? I mean, say what you will.
Say what you will about Nutpool.
Say what you will. No, it's we mentioned last week that the Belgian Babe and I had a special trip planned, and
Yes.
had such a wonderful time. I had thought we should have her on to give all the details and the ways that I'm unable to. I mean, I'm able to in many ways, but I figured it'll give you more full-rounded perspective in the whole thing. What's up, Beer Wonder?
I'm thirsty.
Yeah, let's have some beer.
Yes. We'll be hearing more about the travels with myself and the Belgian Babe. But yes, absolutely, it's certainly time to get to the pours. That was a very good segue, and I just sort of awkwardly extended it. So, hooray! That's right. Belgian Babe. I mean, am I jumping ahead of your job here, Beer Wonder? Because you might have something to say if I didn't.
No, I rarely have anything to say unless apparently I'm trying to cough. But I do. It's been a minute since we've seen the Belgian Babe on the Beercast, so it would seem polite.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you ever so much. I'm actually excited because I have not tried this pour yet.
Ooh.
One of the places that we visited while in the Catskills was in fact Catskill Brewery or Brewing Company, whichever they go by. And this, our wonderful shout out to Shane Renison, our bartender there. I mentioned to him that I am the Belgian Babe, and he asked if I had tried the Giant Ledge. It is a Belgian style blonde ale, a special release.
Ooh.
They did not have it on draft. They did have it in the case where you can make your own 4-pack, which was a really nice treat. So I'm ready to crack this and put it into my Catskill Brewing.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
pint
She was
glass.
branded tonight.
I'm all ready.
Oh, yeah.
So here we go.
Have the whole
All
thing
right.
set up.
All right.
Hashtag proper glassware.
Exactly. Oh my. Oh, hello. That
I'm
that is
wait.
jumping out of the can.
I'm waiting for it. Yep.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's ready
All
to
right.
go. It is
It's
prepared.
ready. Okay. And we go.
Oh my gosh. That. Oh wow. That is nice and
It
caramelly
is.
looking.
And shout out to the Belgian blonde because this
Mm-hmm.
is a Belgian blonde, but
Ooh.
I'll have to let her know how it is.
Exactly.
So
Well, go ahead and
here it
hold
is.
that can up to it because I want to see what is that? That's like a raccoon
It
who's
is.
on the can?
It's a rather angry
We have to tell you
raccoon.
that every time, Beer Wonder.
It's
Yes,
a
pull it
li-
back a little further so we can see the whole thing.
it's a
Oh,
little
that's good.
terrifying, and honestly, everybody says you should pet them, but it seems like a bad idea.
No, I just loved it. On the last episode, you had the exact same question when I had it from Catskill. Like, what is that on the can?
I
Did you
know.
think it was a? Did you think it was a coati this time or something?
No,
Well,
he's got it. He puts it out of his mind. It's
I
so
do.
frightening.
I'm. It looks like he wants to come and take my soul out of my
Okay.
body, and
There you
therefore
go.
we
He
need to
probably
just
does.
let it
Yeah.
go.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it from where you are, but on my side of the camera, the bubbles are just going up and up.
Oh.
There's
Oh,
a really
sweet.
beautiful dance
nice.
happening here. So, yep,
Mhm.
very good. All right, that's me.
Nice.
That is I.
All right. Well, there you
All
go.
right. I think to help Beer Wonder recover from his
Mhm.
rabid raccoon encounter, I think we definitely should let him go next.
Okay, well, here's the thing, friends. There's not going to be much recovery because and again, last time we met, I was a little embarrassed, right? But now I gotta say, I am very proud tonight because I will be drinking a.
Sponsored pour.
A sponsored pour from the Beer and
Mhm.
Cheese Collective at 35-11 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens.
Exactly, and I'm very proud of that fact. But I am a little embarrassed because I do feel like it's that situation where like Belgian Babe and I are wearing the same dress because I knew where you were going. I looked in my fridge. I looked at the beautiful sponsored pours I'd received from our fabulous sponsor, and I was saving a special beer for tonight from Catskills Brewing.
Oh, look at that.
Nice.
Yeah, which has a delightful little terrifying raccoon on it who has been staring at me this entire time.
Raccoon fight.
So my soul has really been taken out. This is their Millbrook Ridge, of course, named after the mountain range. It's India Pale Ale with Solero and Lotus, 6.4% ABV, and I can't wait. Everything says it's basically like dreamsicle and mango, not mayo. That would be weird.
I
But
haven't seen that yet.
yeah, but honestly, with the way craft beer is going these days, it might be coming soon. So I figured I'd crack this one open and see what's going on.
Ooh, I like
Oh, that was a nice crack.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was real good. It was real nice. It was real good. Awesome. And I have got my Beer and Cheese Collective glass, of course. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's a pretty one.
Very orangey. And I really like that citrus character is already quite intense here. I'm going to turn my raccoon around just to really
Nice.
get it in there so you can all feel what I'm feeling right now. But
I mean, to me, I think the orange color makes it look a little less menacing.
it does. It does. It feels like he's like, going to some like party or something. He's like all dressed up.
A little mellowed out, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
I would say that the captain has also has a Catskill beer. Now would be the time to do that.
Well, interesting you mentioned. I do have a
Sponsored pour.
Oh,
but it is. I also have a sponsored pour from the Beer and Cheese Collective. This week it is not. It is not. It's not a Catskill. I just had one last week. I had another one a couple months ago. So I've gotten.
That's
I
fair.
love Catskill, given them their
Yeah.
quotient. What I have is from a brewery that I'm not really sure what their statuses are.
Oh.
They used to be in Nyack, New York.
Mhm.
They closed that down. Now they're brewing out at 12%. I don't think they have a home right now. But this is their backyard Prince.
Oh, check that.
So maybe they're moving to Minnesota. I don't know.
Well,
this one was
it's an okay
this
place.
is from Two Villains, brewed at 12%. This is a milk stout with cinnamon and vanilla with a 6.5% ABV.
Oh, that was a delightful crack right there.
Okay.
There we are.
Ready to go.
And
Mhm.
away we go.
And the pour. Oh, motor oil, just like the captain likes it.
Oh yeah. Nice frothy head there though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There it is.
It's got some life to it. Yeah, for sure. Very
There we go.
bacon
Very
chocolate
pretty.
looking.
Mm-hmm.
You
Really
said that was
gorgeous.
two
All right.
villains.
Two Villains.
Two villains. I don't know what in my mind I feel like Two Villains is a Midwest brewery, but sticking to the what did you have a vanilla porter there?
This is it's a milk stout with cinnamon
That's
and
a
vanilla.
milk stout. Okay, because I know you got vanilla. I got some vanilla here. This is called the Winter Sweater Imperial Porter.
Ooh,
with
fuzzy.
graham crackers and Madagascar vanilla. And this is from
Delightful.
local brewing,
Mm.
which could be possibly the worst brewery name I've heard, but maybe it's the most clever at the same time.
It could
Yeah, I
be.
don't know. I mean, in Astoria, we've got over on 31st Avenue, there's a bar called Local Bar, and they seem to be doing okay.
So I'll tell you what, this is another new brewery, I believe, to the
Yeah,
show.
I think you're right.
I don't think we've had local. They're out of San Francisco. It says that this is brewed in Richmond, which is outside of the San Francisco area. Let's see what this looks like.
Okay.
Ooh,
Ooh. Ooh.
it was
It's
light
lighter
to
than
start out.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
lighter than I anticipated when it went in the glass,
Yeah.
especially for like winter sweater with graham
These
cracker
graham
in it.
crackers might be lightening the color.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's really
Oh
interesting.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's a little.
Still got
It's really translucent. There's a lot of
Yeah.
red I'm getting through. That is. Oh
That's
my!
beautiful. It's a really
Wow.
pretty looking beer.
It's almost more
It
amber
is.
than stout dark. Well, I guess that's where we get a porter, and
That's what happens.
and not a stout. Well, there we go. We have all poured. We
All
shall
right.
all drink.
Cheers, Beer Avengers.
Cheers.
Cheers, indeed.
Mm.
Well, that's just about perfect.
Ooh.
Oh my!
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be really honest with you guys. This is orange juice.
It is.
Excuse me.
Okay.
It's orange juice. It's
Sensing
delicious.
a pattern with you, Beer Wonder.
I know this is orange juice, or I could drink this for breakfast. There's a little mango in there too, but I could
Yeah.
absolutely drink it for breakfast and have no questions asked. I'll take 3, please.
And you said this is an IPA.
It is. Well, yeah. You know me.
Huck, what I like about yours is they I love that it's winter sweater and not ugly sweater.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, well, for one, ugly sweater is so played out, but also,
Yeah.
you know, it's like what you were talking about last time when you got in your last fall beer in under the wire when it was still fall.
Mhm.
And so many places they'll name something after a season, and before you know it, that season's over. So this is good for all winter,
I'm
not
right on
just
I'm
the
right on
Christmas
top
That's
of
season.
true.
Technically, it's winter's eve, but for us, but when this comes out, it will certainly be winter.
Absolutely.
Right, because tomorrow is the solstice when we are taping this.
Oh,
Isn't
I
it?
mean,
Yes.
here in Gotham, it's going to be winter in 4 hours, so
Mhm.
it's close enough.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, this is real nice. I really get the vanilla. It gives it a nice little sweetness. I'm not fully taking in graham quite yet, but it's sweet without being overpoweringly sweet. You know, sometimes you get one of these like dessert stouts that are just like a little too sweet, but this is nice. And like I said, it's got that translucence and there's a lightness to it, which I wouldn't expect from a porter. But it's not into like black lager territory. It's definitely we're in a porter vein, and it's a nice amount of vanilla. I think it's great. It's got an interesting aroma. I'm almost can't quite place it. Like almost like a pharmaceutical aroma, which
Oh dear.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Usually that's the yeast or the alcohol coming out of it, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Getting a little aroma. But I don't taste any alcohol. It's very smooth. It's 8.1%. I know they're calling it imperial. That's low by captain standards, but I think you would like this one. Yeah, it's nice.
Excellent. No, I would happily. In fact, if I happen to be there at some point soon, and there's a few cans of that lying around, I'd love to sample that.
Local
Mm.
brewing, and they've been around since 05 local, so they were
right.
were pretty small and like doing the slow grow, you know.
Yeah.
So good for them. Yeah, I'm glad I got to have this today. I actually and thanks to the folks at Spokeasy, last night I bought a bunch of beers for Christmas, and I got this one,
Ooh.
and possibly another one.
Perfect.
Right on.
So, how is your Catskill beer,
Mhm.
BBA? BBA. I just called you BBA because I can't just call you BB because you have the same initials as the Belgian blonde.
I got it. Okay, yeah. I was like, I think that's me.
No, you're not. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
wasn't saying bourbon barrel aged. I'm talking to you.
No, or you could because I enjoy those as well. It is good. I was actually just looking up on
EPA, I like that.
the Catskill website because Giant Ledge, like Beer Wonder said, you know, a lot of their beers are named after the mountains or
Mhm.
physical attributes of the area. So the Giant Ledge is part of the mountain stuff out there. They describe it as a nice, easy drinker, and I would concur. I think it's very quaffable,
Ah.
as Beer Wonder likes to say.
Mhm, mhm.
According to the website, it's a nice rich gold with a thick white head, aromas of
Oh.
fruit and candy, with notes of bubble gum and candied orange. It's very mild, I would say.
Mm.
I know the captain has heard me say this. There are beers that I think of as beers that I can have with food, and other beers that I consider a dessert beer,
Mhm.
like your imperial stouts or your bourbon barrel aged
Mhm.
or so forth. This I could easily have with food, as opposed to something darker and thicker that I could eat with a spoon. So
Oh.
it's lovely. It doesn't. There's not a lot that I'm sitting there thinking, "Ooh, that's in here or that's in there." Or
Hmm.
again, it's a very pleasant, very smooth. Goes down easily.
Are you sure you're not detecting ingredients in there?
Anything
There is
anything
no
a little bit.
nothing starting with an no, nothing starting with a nut and ending with a
But
meg.
are
in
you
this one for the bear.
sure?
We're gonna save that for perhaps a second pour.
Oh.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
I
At least,
did-
at least you've got plans. One must have
last
plans.
week,
I appreciate your effort, but I'm not going to give a false nutmeg in here. It's
Okay.
like it's.
All right.
No,
It's-
no,
we
no.
tried,
Oh,
we
oh,
tried.
no, that will come later. Although my
We are
mother
above such
did
stunts
ask
here on
me.
the Beer Avengers.
I will say I told my mother that we were recording tonight, and I told her that I was going to have some beverages, and she said, "Oh, will there be any nutmeg or cinnamon in any
Oh
of
my
those?"
gosh.
So,
We've
the captain did come home with me at Thanksgiving
You're a
and
legend.
did play the soundbite for all who cared to listen. So
as one should.
As-
It is
And
it is
we did
important
play
for your
it,
Avenger lore.
We did play it last week for the Java Jack, which actually did have
Mm.
nutmeg in it. So
It
Nice.
did. It did.
very
it's
nice.
come up a couple of times recently.
It's always good when it shows up in a beer for me. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not getting the graham cracker. I apologize to the local.
Oh, that's
for
disappointing.
Not picking it up,
Mm-hmm.
and especially since they said they did it with like a lot of graham. Maybe I am, but inside of a beer that's been fermented, it may just turn into a different flavor that I'm not recognizing.
Uh-huh. Yeah. We've all been there.
There's almost a Belgian,
Oh.
like a Belgian stout almost has a vibe like that.
Oh,
If you ever
interesting.
had a Belgian stout, has that little bit of sweetness and a little bit of just that slight tangy edge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that vanilla. I keep trying it. I'm like, I'm gonna keep trying this till I get it, and then it'll be gone. Oh, might as well pour.
Yeah,
it
I'm
on.
definitely getting the vanilla in mine, but the thing that is really distinguishing it is the cinnamon. This is just
Huh.
it has that just the perfect amount of spice in it. It's got that lactose mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking more at this can. Of course, when you first see the can, it looks like, oh, this looks like a Prince album cover.
Yeah.
Uh,
yeah.
But it also has a double meaning because it has a little sign up here that says "one night only," and you look closer, and that's not the unpronounceable symbol there. It's
Oh.
cat. It's a cat there, right in the middle there, and the
Of
one night
course.
only is a paw print.
Okay.
So if your cat's walking around leaving prints in the backyard,
Sure.
you're leaving backyard prints.
Oh my gosh.
Aha.
oh,
So I think it's a wonderful pun there, and a wonderful beer. I hope Two Villains is doing okay. I hope they're figuring out some way to recover, find a new space,
Mm-hmm.
because this is really a great beer.
Yeah,
I'm really happy that Beer and Cheese Collective has such a good relationship with 12% because they get all kinds of stuff from there. And thank you to the provider for giving us this one.
Yeah, it looks like they were out of Nyack, like you said,
Right.
Mhm.
and their space is closed. So I'm glad that they were able to be picked up by 12%.
Yeah, I think they have roots in New Jersey. I
Yeah.
think. I mean, they were their home was definitely Nyack for quite a while, but and I might have read that wrong. But that's what I thought I saw somewhere. But right now they're brewing out of Connecticut, so I'm glad that they're still figuring out their whole thing. They
Right
still
on.
have an active Instagram thing going, so they're very much alive.
Now, the thing I've been trying to figure out is the name of the raccoon. It doesn't seem to have one, like the mascot,
That is disappointing.
which you'd think it would have a name.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
That's curious.
they should have a contest, like
I
a
was just
naming
gonna say
contest.
that.
Yeah.
Raccoon Raccoony face.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they should let the second graders name it, just like they let the second graders name the fairies here in Gotham. Lunchbox.
I think I need to get Beer Wonder a raccoon pint glass now because it is kind of fun to
Oh, for
watch
sure.
what happens to the raccoon when there's beer behind him, and then as it
Yeah, he gets less angry.
He drinks it.
he does. He seems to mellow with the beer. So
Mhm.
So yeah, this is since this is
this
the
means a
third
return trip. Sorry.
third episode we've had Catskill on in a couple of months,
Yeah.
and I want to thank Huck for asking
Yay.
that question after we were there. It was too late for us to have asked the bartender
Exactly.
if the raccoon has a name. Although I don't know, Shane was great.
He was
He was a great bartender. I don't know if he would have known the answer to that either, because
Well,
last episode we were talking about that Dixon home, and we're trying to figure out what the origin is. And the best he could do is he think that's it's a location that's somewhere near there, because a lot of their beers are named for that. But
yeah. And I did
still haven't
Google while
been
we
able
were
to.
there, but yeah.
Yeah, same. I still have not been able to figure out exactly what the Dixon home is. So if anyone out there knows, again, let us know.
well, but I want to hear more about this trip
Oh, sure. Yeah. We teased out a little bit of it last week.
because I know there's something y'all really want to talk about.
Oh,
Mm.
sure. I mean, there's so much about it. It's like I said, I didn't think that me telling the story could have done it justice. It was such a tremendous experience. So I guess you're probably you really want to hear about Andy's. Is that it? Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
that works.
Andy's. It was great. So we essentially drove up there on a Friday night, about 3 hours. Kind of scary roads here and there.
The last hour there was no service at all, and can I just say a shout out?
Fortunately, the GPS was still working.
And I want to say a shout out to Father Porter Brown Stout and his 1999 Camry that got us there all the way.
Bless
That's
Because
true.
had we not in the last hour, made it, had we had to pull off to the side of the road with no cell service, we would have had to ask a moose the best way to Andy's from there, or if the moose knew someone who could help with the car, because we were in the middle of the woods.
The
and
mooses are kindly. They all
Yeah,
they want
they
is
often are.
to help you.
They often
Yeah.
are a moose or a deer or some, but we going down the road and suddenly I realized there wasn't nutmeg in there, but there was snow in there on the
Oh,
ground.
That's right. Yeah.
And we're
it was,
going
they'd had a big
down,
snowstorm
yep,
about a week before, apparently.
going
Mhm.
down a mountain road, twisting and turning in the dark, not having a clue where we were. It was actually a quite lovely
Now, what town were you going
escape.
to?
Yeah,
Well, this is Andy's. That's the city we were staying in. We're staying in Andy's. This really
Sorry,
fantastic.
point of order. I would not call it a city. It
Okay.
was a model railroad village. There was there's the library, there's the school, there's the post office. You've
Well,
seen
you have
the
to go to the next town
Don't
over
you?
to go to a gas station. Yeah.
This is true.
They,
was
Andy's like the mountain range. Interesting.
Yes,
yes.
or the mints, or the mints.
Or the mint.
The nearest gas station was either in neighboring Margaretville or Delhi. It looks like Delhi, but the locals pronounce it Delhi. And so we got there. We got this beautiful old Victorian style house we were staying in for this. It was like a bed and breakfast. We had our own room there and all that. It was
Yeah.
great. And we got there just in time to go have dinner at the Andy's Hotel. And very
Just
few
in
things
time.
because there's one table there, and the whole time we're eating dinner, actually had a Catskill beer there. I believe it was the Ball Lightning Pilsner, I think. And we're there, and the whole time we're having it. I wound up getting steak frites, and I think you got wings.
I got wings.
And I was going to have a couple beers with dinner, but the whole time it's basically it's barely connected to the tavern next
Yeah.
door.
There's a double door,
And the waitress kept trying to close the door.
Trying to close it, yeah.
Because we were hearing karaoke, nonstop karaoke. It was like, wow, there must be a big crowd. They're having karaoke. We should go check that out after dinner. Went
Yeah.
over there, about six people, including the bartender and the karaoke host.
This is true.
Karaoke host was this dude in a Santa suit named Tito.
Of course.
And I was just looking up, trying to figure out what was that great oatmeal stout we had.
I just had it. It was a Burley Beard from
Yeah.
Northway Brewing Company.
Huh.
That was lovely. Yeah, we each had a beer with dinner. I didn't untap my dinner beer, but the Burley Beard I did, and I gave it a 4.5.
Huh.
It was
Yeah, I thought it was
lovely.
pretty great.
Mhm.
That's a good
Yep.
name.
Yeah,
You may have even seen our picture we put on Instagram with that beer. It was really,
Yep.
really fantastic.
yeah. It was a
Um,
nitro oatmeal stout, actually, according to this thing. Yep. And they're out of Queensbury, New York. Mhm.
But the really big event was the next day, which I know
Okay.
you guys want to hear about.
Yeah.
And that's I mean, it really all started when we drove up to Cooperstown.
Yep.
No,
Oh,
okay.
you must have gone to the
It's-
baseball
it's
Hall of
baseball,
Fame. Then.
but baseball, yeah, baseball's
You
good.
know-
We like baseball.
We ended up not having enough time for that. That's another podcast. But we
But
I
the
have been
reason
mentioning
we didn't was because they had such a wonderful time at
we did.
Omegon.
That's true. And
Oh,
I have
wow.
been mentioning
Yeah.
to the captain for years that I would like to go to both of those places.
And I wanted to fit it
So,
in, but we basically we got
yeah.
there. They were supposed to have a tasting at noon, and we didn't. Even though the website said that, they changed it. It wasn't until 1. We hadn't
Mhm.
had lunch anyway, so we decided to have lunch there with a flight, and
That
it
was
was great. So we wound up doing a 1 o'clock tasting, and the host was just so fantastic. Her name is Paige. She's our friend on Instagram now. So hi Paige.
Hi,
Hopefully
Paige.
you're listening to this one. But she was fantastic.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. And we got to keep our tasting glasses.
Oh, see,
Great.
fancy.
Oh, yeah.
Very
She
nice.
was,
Yeah.
she was
Beautiful
terrific.
space up there. Brick and
Yeah.
my
Oh.
wife and I went one time.
No, it was great. It was, I'd been hoping to go for a while, and it was everything I hoped it would be and more. And Santa and Mrs. Claus were there. It was
Oh,
fabulous.
right.
Well, because we walked in, and there was this gentleman sitting near the tree,
Mhm.
and I thought, oh, he'd make a beautiful Santa Claus. And
Mhm.
45 minutes later, he did.
A guy who looked
Yeah,
very
look
much
at that.
very good. A guy who looked very much like him. Yes, came out as
Oh,
Santa Claus.
that's correct. Because I did say to him, "You were sitting over by the tree, right?" And he said, "No, that was my friend." Oh, of course,
Oh,
of course, of course, of course. But yes,
naturally,
but
naturally.
he and the missus were there, and that was a lovely treat, and
Mhm, mhm,
it was
mhm.
a lot of fun. But yeah, no, Paige was amazing, and gave
Yeah,
us a
but
lot of
before, I
good
mean,
knowledge about the beers. And
well, the
go
crazy
ahead.
thing is, like when we're there for lunch, we have with these great flatbreads there,
Oh
Mhm.
my
and
god,
we just essentially shared a flight because we were trying to pace ourselves for the whole rest of the day.
Sure, yeah.
But essentially, a flight is $16.
Oh,
During the tasting, you get what is essentially a flight and then some, and the tasting is $20. So it's
Ah.
essentially if you go that, you're getting such a wonderful deal. Make sure you tip Paige or whoever your
yeah.
tasting guide
Now,
is there.
was the place fairly crowded?
By
Not
the
when
time
we
Yeah,
were
tell
it
us
there.
about that.
was by the
Yeah.
time we left, it was filling up. But the
Yep.
actual tasting, there were only 4 of us there.
Mhm.
So it was like a
Huh.
real private
Oh,
tasting.
that's
Told
nice.
us a lot
Yeah.
about the history of the place.
You had a
Mentioned
tour as well.
what's that?
You had a
No,
tour
there
as
was no
well?
actual tour. It was
No
all just in
tour.
this little room.
A
Huh.
private room, yeah.
I think they used to do tours, but they stopped during the pandemic and haven't started doing it again yet. But she gave us a lot about the history of the place.
Yep.
I didn't know that they have. I think I did know at one point, but I'd forgotten. They had a partnership with Duvel,
Yes.
Mhm.
and also that their sister brewery is Morris Deuce, which is the one that, if I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, that was the place we went to in the in Belgium last year.
Hmm.
Yeah,
In
we
the
did go
Abbey,
there.
the woman who
Yeah, that was
who's-
fun.
who was very angry at every time a car drove by, interrupting her speech.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I
But-
thought it was great that Paige told us that Amagang is, I don't, licensed isn't the right word, but authorized. Their yeast actually comes from Belgium.
Oh,
So
Yes.
they are,
Huh.
which is fantastic. So it just gives them a little something unique,
Yeah.
and it was fabulous. Yeah.
We
Yeah,
went
that
on
Yep.
that All Hallows treat that I had a few episodes back, I was able to
Mhm.
have some of that on draft. They still had it lying
Oh.
around. It was great, and it was interesting because you remember when I said before, because Huck, you and I go back and forth on the peanut butter stouts, and that
Right.
one it had I had mentioned that it didn't have that sweetness of peanut butter, and she said it was actually made with roasted peanuts. So
Aha.
okay.
it's not
Mhm.
made with like peanut
Yeah.
butter.
Right.
In fact, someone else
Interesting.
was telling me that actually most of them are made with peanuts, and usually the milk sugar
Hmm.
gives it a sweeter taste to it.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it was a really, really fantastic experience.
Nice. Yeah,
was
Bricken
great.
and I went up in 2013. I'm actually looking at my photos. It was our wedding anniversary.
Oh,
That's
wow.
that's
about that?
Cider Girl's friend, right?
We've
That's right.
met her. We've met her once or twice.
Yeah.
Cider Girl's
Yeah.
friend, yeah.
Cider
That's
Girl,
right.
yeah.
Same
That's
way
right.
Santa has a
Her
friend.
doppelganger.
Yes.
So while we did not get to the Hall of Fame, I don't want to speak for you, Captain, but I feel as if we both enjoyed the experience and the area enough that I would certainly go again. I think you
Uh-huh.
would certainly go up there again, and I'd go to Amagang again for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, we were at Amagang for a solid like 3 hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
And between the lunch and the tasting and just hanging out and shopping, and we brought some wonderful things
Making
home.
new friends. Yeah.
And yeah, we didn't go to the Baseball Hall of Fame because at that point we were 3 hours, and we had a really special thing planned for that evening. I know we've been teasing this out the whole time. And we told you a little about Catskill the next day, but really the main event was that night, which I knew what was about to happen. You guys know because we talked
Yes.
about in the last episode.
Mhm.
Belgian Babe didn't know what it was until we got there, so I
Clueless.
think I should turn the floor
Love
over
it.
to her
Good work.
Clueless.
about
Yeah.
You didn't know.
how you got
And so
introduced
you-
to this whole experience.
I knew that it was. I said to him, just a hunch. Is there beer involved? Or whatever. Like, so I kind of knew it was a beer pairing experience, a dinner, if you will. But I was guessing all kinds of things like, oh, are they dressed like Dickens characters? Or kept saying like, it's something about it. I read about it and I thought this was unique. So
Hmm.
I didn't know what that meant. So take it away, Captain. I'll follow your lead.
Okay, you want me to explain what it is? I didn't know if you
Yeah.
wanted to get into like how you had it introduced you and together. So we talked about it on the last episode, but this is the Bovina Farm and Fermentory, where, and I didn't get the description quite right, but so I'm going to correct things a little bit. So they essentially brew all their own beer. And as we were walking up to the farmhouse where they serve the dinner, we passed the building where they brew all the beer. And I had mentioned something about sheep, where there was no sheep related things, at least for our dinner.
It's disappointing, but okay.
But everything is either grown there or with local. There's a lot of it's just a little farm community. So
Yeah.
they get things from other local farmers, including like a lot of the produce is at the local farmers market, and each course is paired with different beers. I know I sent you guys the menu. Because here's the funny thing. Belgian Babe was very diligent about taking pictures of a lot of the food and about the various surroundings, but we were having such a wonderful time. We never took any pictures of any of the beer.
Oh goodness.
No, not entirely true. I have pictures of the
Hmm.
grisette, the very
Oh, you
first
do?
one.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have the
Okay.
very first one, but yes, you're correct. The food, definitely the food photos surpass the beer photos.
But yeah, essentially the deal
yeah.
with this place is they it's a husband and wife couple, and they do pretty much as I didn't see any other staff there aside from there was some live music there, a small jazz combo, but all the work was done by these two people. So it's basically like it's like a couple hosting a 38-person dinner party in a I guess you'd call it early America style, which also means it's very English in style.
Okay.
So that meant
Very rustic.
they had, and that also applied to the Christmas decorations. They had this
Yeah,
Christmas
that
tree
makes
with
sense.
these dried orange slices hanging from it. They had a couple of big bowls of alcoholic punch up at the front that you were welcome to indulge in at any point. I was trying to take it a little slow since I was the one who's driving. But what's nice is because of that British style, almost all the beers were fairly low ABV. And also, it's a very extended evening. So, Huck, I remember you were talking when we were at that Belgian pairing that I got sick for last year, and you were talking about how remarkable because a lot of the American pairings you go to, if it's a long meal, they'll give you like small pours.
Right.
But this was similar to the Belgian experience in the
Nice.
sense that there were full pours with everything, and sometimes there was extra, and you could have a little bit more.
Nice.
Very, very,
Yes.
very, very spirit of
We like
generosity
that. We like
with
that.
all of it.
Louise especially, and we can talk more specifically about Louise at some point. But yeah, here's a picture
Yes.
of that first beer, the grisette. I know
Wow, look
Ooh.
at the head on that.
we can
That's
put it on the
gorgeous.
gram because I know the listeners can't see it, but
Yeah, it had that like really
yeah.
pillowy, fluffy head there. It was great.
Yep. Yeah.
And a grisette is an unusual beer to find, I feel, right? Because you they don't
Mhm.
always show up as frequently. So that's really cool.
Yep. Yeah, it was they paced it out. Appetizers started at 6:30. We didn't leave there until 10. And to be fair, at one point in one of the early courses, I thought I'm not going to make it through this meal. And I felt bad because I said, I know Captain has arranged this and paid for this. And so it was actually nice because it was a good, what would you say, 15 minutes between each course? Because
Oh, that's nice.
I would say it was even longer before the
Yeah.
beef Wellington,
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
would say the first few there wasn't a. I mean, there was a very nice leisurely pace, but
Yeah.
we didn't get a serious pause until that one.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like we got up there at 6:30. we have our names like, oh, you're sitting over here. We're at a table with eight people.
Totally. Yeah.
And so they essentially, the first thing they bring you is a little plate with like this sort of little piece of the bread that I assume they made themselves
Sure.
with local ingredients, like toasted with a little bit of greens and venison on it.
It was called a
Mm.
venison rillette. I looked it up. It's a French word, rillette, and it was the venison,
Rillette.
and it was a rillette, and it was pickled red onions
Oh,
on the top, and it was lovely. Yeah,
And so they
with
let you spend a little time enjoying the venison and having the first beer. And about a half hour in, they basically got up and talked about a little bit about what they do and about
okay.
what we were in for the evening. And that's when they
Sure.
mentioned that not only about all the local farmers and the stuff they have, and about how Jake, was that his name, Lynn?
Jake and
BBA.
Elizabeth. Yes. Hmm.
Yes, and she
Yep.
mentioned that Jake brewed all the beer in that building that we passed
Mhm.
on the way up to the farmhouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
And most of it was on tap, although the second beer was bottled.
Yeah.
Uh, we asked them at the end if that meant they sold it. They said sometimes they have events where they will like maybe sell some bottles to people who are there, but they don't sell it to anyone else.
That's
You
cool.
can't find it at any store.
Yeah, they
So
don't
the only
distribute
way
right
the only way you can have their beer is if you're there for one of the dinners or some other occasion.
now.
That's
Well, I'm
very
looking
cool.
at your
Yeah.
list,
Yeah.
and it's your second
Yeah.
beer you're talking about was a farmhouse ale, so maybe that was
Yeah.
purposely done just so that it could ferment in the bottle, which is a
Yep.
traditional saison thing.
Yep.
Well, that makes
They
sense.
talked about yeah.
Her name was Louise.
Louise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we do like that.
Yeah. And she was
The beer,
served with
yeah.
the well, I'm gonna get ahead of myself. She was served with the beef tongue, but
Ooh.
the
Beef tongue
grisette
as well as another one. Wasn't
no,
there?
no, 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 the grisette was with the venison and the stuffed squash,
That's correct. Yeah.
which was amazing. Which is like a butternut squash stuffed with uh breadcrumbs, spinach,
Mm.
uh
Ooh.
goat cheese,
Apples.
chestnuts. Yeah. And
There were
I
some nuts in
purposely
there too, I think. No nutmeg, but some nuts.
chestnuts, nuts of the chest. Yeah,
Oh,
but that was the course where I thought I hated to leave part of the squash shell, but I thought if I need to pace myself because there's a lot more to come. So yeah, it was amazing. It was just
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
mm.
How was a beef tongue? I mean, I've had
Yeah.
tongue before.
Yeah.
It's got to be cooked right.
Yep.
Yeah.
It can be
Was it
tough.
nice and tender?
It was tender, but I found it a little
Mm.
salty, but it was served with arugula and some other bitter greens. So
Oh,
I feel like that was meant to and it
Chard.
was one of those courses where I thought if we didn't know what we were eating, we would try more things.
sure.
Because if they just said here's a little steak on a plate, I wouldn't have been like, oh, it's a tongue, and so I took a little tiny medallion of it and then said, excuse me, could I have more of that? Because
Yeah.
it was quite lovely. And
Nice.
Oh,
yeah, so that I think that the bitter greens were put there to no, I was just say the bitter greens were there to balance out the
right.
saltiness of the tongue itself. So yeah.
And Beer Wonder, I would say that if you've had beef tongue and you find it to be tough,
I
I
do.
think it's
Yes.
prepared wrong. I think it's prepared
Oh,
wrong.
okay.
It's tough
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
right.
extremely tender.
Yeah, this
Uh,
was
Should be tender,
very
yeah.
You-
very
or,
thinly sliced and well seasoned, and yeah.
or do you just mean you have a tough time eating it?
Oh no, I do enjoy Maultaschen, which is what I had. Which is
That.
it's tongue, but it's German
Okay.
tongue.
Oh,
And
German.
It's tough though.
Yes.
It's like a tough texture.
well, I think I had cheap tongue. I'm going to be honest. I was not in the highest of establishments when I was eating Maultaschen in Germany. So that's that's my only experience with tongue.
Yeah, well, because my other experience with tongue is there used to be a taco truck around the corner from me, and I would never automatically be drawn to it. But
Right.
one of my friends, probably at the Beer and Cheese Collective, was telling me like, "Oh, you got to have the lengua quesadillas, which is
Okay.
tongue quesadillas," and I did, and that's really the main difference I found between that. Like this tastes like just almost any other beef, but just incredibly tender.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure was.
Fair.
Um, Huck, I think I heard you mention chard, and we had the chard gratin
Mhm.
was this casserole, and it was like Swiss chard and root vegetables with cheese.
Ooh.
I
Yeah, which I think was
Oh.
Swiss cheese as well, I believe.
Oh my god, which came out that was the same course technically as the beef tongue, and
Right. So they were both served with the farmhouse ale.
with the Louise, yeah,
Nice.
and that was the one that came in a bottle. and they left the bottles on the table so we could sort of, replenish ourselves,
Oh my
which was great.
gosh, how fantastic is that?
That
It was
sounds
good
like
caramel ale.
Yeah, it was good. It was
Lemon
with
zest there.
with a bit of lemon zest to it. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And London broil is pretty hearty. So
Sure.
not London broil, I mean beef Wellington. And
Mhm.
so there was a big pause. You just like bears or like backyard pins for the pauses there. No, with that, just there was a really big pause. And so we, sipped a little more on some of that lemony farmhouse ale and just waiting for it and just like let things settle. So when I should say, one thing I mentioned, we're all sort of like communal seating. It's also
Yeah.
everything is served with like two exceptions. All the courses are served family style, where basically
Right.
sort
Yeah.
of bring a platter to the table and you
Hmm.
pass it around.
Nice.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And you
Speaking
serve
of big pause, let's take a big pause right now.
Oh my gosh. Doing a
you read my
second pour?
mind, Huck. Yeah.
Pop
Back up another
Fuji.
beer.
Yep.
This
And I-
can art is already is ready to go for me. I don't
This
know
is
what
called
he's
Pop-
doing, but
Pop Fuji. It's an unfiltered pilsner from our good friends at Brewery West out of
Oh.
Los Angeles, California.
Angeles.
I personally have had a few Brewery West beers, but I don't know that we've had one on the show. So
All right then.
Possibly not.
it's possible we did, but I don't think so. Because usually when I used to live in New York, I would just drink them in California. I wouldn't bring them back home. So probably haven't had it. Probably described it, but got my classic
Yeah, that
Treehouse
can art is
Pilsner
something.
glass. Yeah, it's cool. This is kind of like one of their standard. Oh, can I do the whole thing? Oh,
Okay,
Do
the
it.
color of the beer
Color
is
is.
close to the similar of the color of the can.
I know it's very impressive. You can really see
Very
that they
yellow.
matched it well. That is pretty.
Wow.
It's nice.
All right then.
Hashtag proud of you.
Thank you. And now back to your regularly scheduled beer story. Although I could taste
I will say what was enjoyable during the pause between the courses was the music ensemble, the trio. It had kind of a Vince Guaraldi,
Oh,
Charlie
fun.
Brown Christmas vibe. Oh, they were fabulous. They were
Oh,
just,
That's
nice.
cute.
Yeah.
That's really
yeah,
awesome.
it was the whole thing. The whole, evening was just lovely. So, and I don't know if we want to get into prices and things, but the captain did eventually let me know what the cost was, and I thought, you got to be kidding! It's you could pay this for a dinner in New York City, and
You could pay twice this for a ticket to a Broadway show.
Oh wow.
This is true. This is true. And it was just lovely. It was just lovely and unique, like you said, and it's very special.
How did you find it?
Yeah, what was
There was an article in the New York Times, and as soon as I read this, I'm like, I mean, it's. I read this like, oh, that was my initial feeling when I saw it. Was like, oh, this is probably some crazy expensive thing for ridiculous rich people. But I'm gonna look it up anyway and see what the price is. And I saw what the price was. It's like it's basically about $100 a person.
Yep.
Man,
It was a
that's
little
like
more
5%.
for this
That's
one
not bad at all.
because of the music and the holiday feast.
Yeah, so this was 120 instead. Usually they're 100, and they, like the special occasion ones are, and they even offer some things. They call it Field Day, which isn't that interesting to me. But for about $400, Jake will take you hunting.
Oh,
well,
and
find your own dinner.
All the way through the hunting to the butchery part of it.
For some folks, I'm sure that's a great time.
Yeah, no, I have a coworker who hunts, and I'm sure he'd be all about it. So,
and I should say dinner is included with all of that. But
yeah, I wouldn't mind that experience.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, if you go out fishing and you catch your own trout for dinner, it's the same thing. If you go out into the field and do the field day,
and you kill Bambi.
Get your own. I know, your own venison.
Eat Bambi.
I mean, I was okay with just the appetizer on my plate. Yeah.
You have to dress the deer right away.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Otherwise, the deer. Otherwise, it's naked. It gets embarrassed. Wait.
No,
exactly.
But I remember that from Into the Wild, that movie based on the book. It's like I remember that being a thing.
Watch that. Yeah.
So have either of you ever been hunting in any form of one or another?
Yes.
No. It feels like it would be part of my Minnesota upbringing, but that was not quite how my family ran. So,
Huck, what was your hunting experience?
Duck hunting.
Okay.
Quack quack.
And I completely didn't get any duck.
Wow.
No, that's
but
interesting.
I did get to fire the gun.
Yeah. I wish I could say the same about my one hunting experience.
Okay. Yeah,
It's
you
basically
did
well, no, I
feel
mean
something.
it was okay. I didn't really like it that much. I don't remember how old I was, but
Mhm.
my Texas grandfather took me frog stabbing.
No.
Frog stabbing.
Frog stabbing. Oh, that's
That's not
that's up close. That's like hand-to-hand combat.
that's not what he called it because of course they're Texans and they have cute
Right.
names for brutal things. They call it frog gigging
Oh,
Digging?
Yeah.
Oh, because you're like
gig.
getting in
with a
there.
G.
No, no,
Oh,
You have
gig,
a,
gigging.
gig.
Oh.
Like,
you
like,
basically
Oh.
have
it's
a
a gig
long
job.
Got it.
you have a long wooden pole with
Okay.
a knife at the end essentially.
Ugh.
Right.
And so you
Yeah.
sneak up behind the frogs and you just jab them and then you put them in your bag.
Gig 'em.
Mm,
Now,
That's
Huck,
frog
it's
gigging. Yeah.
you
Huck, it's
know,
interesting you mentioned duck because they said that the venison was done kind of like a confit,
Oh,
mm,
with
okay.
like seasoned and saved in fat and all of that. And oh, it was lovely. Yeah, good stuff. So we're talking a lot about food and not about beer.
We are, but we talked about the beer as well. But
Okay,
yeah,
I
so
just
Quite
I just
all
want
right.
to make sure that I'm not like taking us off the
no,
track.
you're right. But
No.
we talked about beef Wellington. We also didn't say that it was paired with a dark mild. Going
Oh,
along with
nice.
that
Okay.
those great low
That-
Hear
ABV
about the
things.
That's
mild.
Still the
actually kind of nice. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
probably my favorite beer of the meal. It was sort of a toasty, nutty kind of flavor, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, at
and
that.
again, a really powerful head like they do with like Guinness, which is I think that's
Yep.
part of how you extended the two courses because they like served all of us the beer before they started bringing the beef Wellington to the table.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah, and it was
But like
lovely
I
because
said,
we could.
Wellington is a strong flavor, so
Mhm,
Yeah.
that dark mild had that stronger roasty flavor to
to match it. Yeah,
match up
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
yeah, it was nice
All right.
because uh they sort of I think separated couples so that we would lend to that communal feeling. But
right.
there was there was someone near us who kept like wanting to talk to his girlfriend, and in fact moved his chair around to the head of the table to talk to her more. And I finally said, I can move next to the captain and you can just come over here, which was fine. So when I
Yeah.
got to the captain's side of the table, I could see Elizabeth and Jake working in the kitchen, and the Wellington was served with radicchio salad.
Radicchio, yeah.
Mm,
So I
oh,
could
nice.
see them like splitting the radicchio off the head of the plant and all of that. So it was neat to see them in action, getting the
Oh
things
yeah.
prepared and stuff. And of course the punches were up there at the if you wanted to just
We also, before we move
I
back to the
just like
punches,
get
I
in.
want to say
Yeah.
that, like, in addition to the radicchio, we had this like blue cheese sauce and
Oh, yeah.
house-made mustard
Mm. Oh, yeah.
to go with the beef Wellington. That was
Yeah.
great. It was amazing.
Which speaks to Huck's point about those are some strong, some
Yeah, that's
strong
intense.
sauces.
Right.
So you want to have that dark mild beer
Right.
to
Yeah.
match up those strong flavors. Yeah.
So the strong flavors without a lot with all the alcohol, like
Yeah.
you would
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. So you wouldn't want a lighter, like the grisette wouldn't have paired as well
Mm-hmm.
with something like a blue cheese and that strong mustard. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
Delightful.
I think we should probably talk about dessert. Want to get us started on that, Belgian babe?
Sure. So I'm looking at the menu here. Oh, okay. So they had a sticky date pudding,
Ooh.
which Elizabeth said is also known as a sticky toffee pudding.
Oh.
And Captain can correct me as needed on this, but I believe she said maybe perhaps the origin of it is in Australia,
Huh.
and in Australia they call it sticky date pudding, so they felt they should honor that. And so because it was sort of for me like a date nut bread, but really intense and really dense. And she said, their ramekins are kind of large. So they thought about having couples share one. And then they decided it's a feast. It's a holiday feast. You can each have your own. So they brought around this date nut, pudding, so they called
Yeah.
it, which was like a thick bread. And then they
Okay.
came around with sort of a caramel toffee sauce that they poured over it.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's the goods.
after all the other dishes, and it was served with an ordinary pale
ale, yeah.
pale beer. Yeah. So the beer wasn't terribly heavy, but the bread, I just couldn't finish the whole thing. I think Captain
It made me think about Ordinary Bitter Kid because it was that they would say it was like
Yeah.
bitters,
Yeah.
bitters beer.
Yeah, but it was very intense, and I feel glad that I don't like to leave food on the plate. I left a little bit of the squash and I left a little bit of the date pudding, but yeah, it was quite lovely, quite lovely. So
You were starting to talk about the punch on the bar a minute
yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah.
I detoured, but I
Well,
think that's worth talking about. They basically
yeah,
had these big punches. On the right, there was an eggnog with bourbon in it. On the left, there was this like cranberry punch with gin.
with gin, yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, and they were there throughout the night. So if you were sitting there thinking, when's our next course coming? I don't know. Do you know? And I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna have some more punch. So you could
Definitely
sort
saw
of,
some
you
people
know,
take big advantage of that. Some
yeah,
people
As
go
yeah,
up
one
there a whole lot.
should.
Yeah,
Why would
and
you
yeah.
and
not?
I
you know
wouldn't
what?
because I was driving and I was just
Fair.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
this I'm gonna have all the beers. I'm gonna enjoy all the beers. I
Right.
had
right.
one well, I had one thing of the eggnog, and that's when I realized that my mustache is getting a little overgrown at this point.
Ah.
Uh,
Yeah.
because I literally I'm about to sit down. I've just got it. I want to take a little sip before I sit down, and I sit down. And the second I take it away, it just like splats on the floor and on my shirt.
Yeah.
That's how much my
There you
mustache was retaining. So
Yeah.
every other time I had to sort of like purse my lips to like, all right, I'm gonna get some of it on here, but hopefully I don't like put half of it on the floor and on
And I
myself.
think one wants to be careful. You know, you're having beer and beer and beer, and you're putting gin into the mix, and then bourbon,
Right.
and like so. You know, it was just sort of a as you like it sort of moment. You know, to go get some
Okay.
punch, and yeah, it was just very sweet and very amazing. And I'm glad that when we were coming up the driveway, following a couple other cars, we weren't actually, you know, going to the wrong house into someone's Christmas party
Yeah,
because
what was the names you gave them? Like Roger and Millie or
Faith
something?
and Roger. No, Faith and
Faith and
Roger. And
Roger.
I
Okay,
thought,
yeah.
we're going to knock on the door and they're going to say, we don't know you. We, so, but that was the feeling they
Yeah.
wanted you to have that welcome. In fact, Elizabeth,
Go to
when
their house.
Elizabeth
Yeah.
started, she
Yeah.
said, welcome to our home. And
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so lovely.
it was very lovely. And I look forward to going there again.
Yeah, it was basically
Good
this
for
is what
them,
they
yeah.
do every weekend. Jake and Elizabeth host a dinner party for 38 people.
Mm.
Really fantastic.
Yep. Yep. Really
Well,
great.
that sounds incredible. I mean, that just sounds like an ideal weekend.
I
Yeah.
found myself thinking later that like I almost give it short shrift if I say it was the best beer pairing dinner I've ever been to because it was probably one of the most memorable meals I've had in my
Mhm.
life.
Yeah. And
Wow.
even though, you know, I started taking photos and he said, I want to be in the moment. I do feel I was able to do both and be in the moment and just appreciate, you know, the music, the ambiance, the company, the food, the drink. It was just, yeah, it
And
was
to be
great.
clear, I wasn't criticizing you when I said that.
Oh, I know
I was
that.
saying
I
that
know.
because I'm glad you're taking those pictures,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
I'm gonna trust you to have all the pictures we need of it, and I'm not gonna take on that responsibility for
And
myself
yet
at all.
I took one beer out of 4, but that's okay.
Because that's the thing. That's what it is. It's like this taking you back to like that early America feel where you
Yeah.
don't have cell phones, no one has a
Yeah.
signal, and I'm
Yeah.
Yep.
like, and I think we spend so much time documenting our experiences that sometimes
Yep.
we don't have them.
Yeah. And
And so I
even
was
early
trying to
British,
embrace
you know,
that spirit.
and even British, as you said, because there was something Dickensian about it, you know, or
Really, yeah, there was.
Victorian England about it in terms of the like, this is a Christmas tree. The only thing hanging on it are dried orange, you know,
Slices, yeah.
slices. It was just, it was lovely. It was lovely, simple and lovely.
Right on. I'm glad you got all were able to
Outstanding.
do that, and thanks for sharing that experience
Sure.
with us.
Yeah.
And
Very
we
cool.
can talk a little bit about Catskill as well. But before we do that, I'm going to go back to Cooperstown for a second because it's time for my second pour.
Me too.
Oh
Um,
my.
And
All
this
right.
is sort of like up there with what Huck was talking about in the last episode, talking about how you were saying that you were having a blonde stout, which is kind of like white chocolate. Well,
Yeah.
and then we went
Oh,
up to Ommegang, and I have this. It's a white chocolate imperial blonde stout, so it's combining all
Oh,
the
look
things.
at that. You see, it's like you planned this.
All right. Very good. Captain, tell us about your beer.
All right, this is as I said, it's a white chocolate imperial blonde stout, and it is called Everything Naughty.
Oh,
It's part
so
of
naughty.
their OMG series. You see a lot of little like gnomes here and a
Mhm.
Christmas
Yeah, we have a
tree.
little
So
holiday
very holiday.
beer here. Yeah.
This is an and they had a couple of beers there. This is one of them. That they everything else you can mix and match your 4 packs. This is one. Nope, there's such a limited supply of this one. You have to buy the whole 4 pack.
Oh,
And so I'm
wow.
glad I
Okay.
did. And
Ooh.
there's my Everything Naughty. And I don't remember where I got this, but I was looking in my cabinet today, and I found I had an Ommegang glass.
Oh, wow.
It's they're from their Abbey Ale. It's a double, but now it's
Hmm.
going to have some white chocolate imperial stout here.
It is
Take a look at this
fantastic.
beauty.
Oh, wow. Oh, my
Very
gosh.
golden.
yeah.
That is That is beautiful. That's truly beautiful.
Here we
Yeah, if
go.
I didn't know better, I'd say it was like almost like a hazy IPA. It's got a
Yeah.
real
Yeah.
It's got
it's
a
a little
gorgeous
lighter,
character
but
to it.
yeah.
Yeah. But
There we are.
it does seem naughty regardless. It seems very naughty.
Indeed.
And so speaking of which, I see Belgian Babe is back with her second pour.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh my
To
gosh, in a bottle.
To counteract the everything naughty, I will be
Naughty.
having the everything nice.
Ooh.
my
And
God.
Did you plan this? Did you plan this?
Did we?
I don't know. It's
Anyway,
what
I
It
will
will
say
seems
mention
like
that
a
part.
coinky dink.
I will say I did have this at the brewery on
Oh.
Saturday,
Nice.
and there are spices in here.
Oh.
Now, I
Okay.
did not do my homework today to find out what it says. Strong blonde ale with seasonal spices and natural and artificial flavors. It's a 9.5, as I recall, and it's lovely. I do want to give them a shout out for
nutmeg in here.
No way.
as there should be. This is so I did buy this Pride Month lovely. It's a sort of a rubber vinyl
That's
cup.
cool.
It's great. I tried drinking out of it the other day. You know what, Captain? We need to talk to them about the Manhattan Shine, but we will.
Sure.
But to be fair, I just rinsed this out on Sunday, and I kept as I tried to drink, kept smelling what might have been hops.
Oh.
It smelled like hay. So now I've put what do you call that? Dishwashing soap in it, but I'm not going to drink out of it tonight. But it was a wonderful. They had like a lovely, great Pride selection of swag.
Oh, cool.
So I look forward to drinking out of that soon. Okay, so here we go. This
Ooh.
is in a bottle, so not so much a crack. All right, and I will tell you, no, Huck, thank you. All right,
It says
here we go.
flavors
Huck,
of nutmeg.
the
so I don't know.
researcher, the
So
researcher among us.
Which is holding up a thing. It's because this is for an audio podcast. It's really important for Huck to hold up something to the camera and not say
It
anything.
is so important.
There we go. Oh, that's
All
pretty.
righty then. Yes.
Yeah, it looks good.
And I already know I like it. That's why I bought a.
Yeah, actually,
Mm.
hold them up. Hold them still
Yep,
together.
yep. All right. Do you want the raccoon, or will that scare
I
the
No,
beer?
no,
no,
I
don't
want to
do
see
it.
the beer.
Yeah,
I want to see the
it's
glass
right.
and the bottle next to each other. I know
Okay.
this is your first time ever on the show, but
There it is.
all right.
There it
Thank
is.
you.
You tell me when. All right.
All right.
Very good. It's all good.
But
Cheers.
but yeah, so Huck was just holding up something to the screen that we all laughed at, and then we didn't tell you what we were laughing at. So Huck, explain what you were just showing to us.
Yeah. Where'd you find that?
Well, I looked on the website and it says strong blonde ale with seasonal spices, the supremely cozy confection, blah, blah, blah. Note the flavors of cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg,
Nutmeg.
cloves, and white pepper.
I think there's nutmeg in this.
I do too. I do too. I really
No wonder
do.
I like it so much. Yep.
But
there
it says
is.
flavors, so that doesn't necessarily mean they put it in there, but
Sure.
Yeah.
But
it does say lightly dusted with spices of the season, so they probably did.
It's
Yeah.
It's
quite
festive.
Nice. Yeah.
It's festive.
Yep.
Why can't they just tell you directly?
That would
There
be
it
too
is.
Oh,
easy.
here
Huck.
it is. Oh, and then I scrolled down further. Yes, cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, cloves, and white pepper. They
Hey.
used all
It's
those
all there.
spices.
It's all there.
All right there.
Tell us about the white pepper. Are we picking that up in there?
Yeah, what are we getting?
There's a little. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, all of it. It's a lovely melange
I'm
of
sorry.
A mélange.
Oh,
This
Cider
is,
Girl's
uh,
Cider Girl's here.
in her penguin
interrupting.
sweater.
I just wondered if there was nutmeg in there.
You're asking the important questions, Cider
There
Girl.
is, in fact.
Nutmeg in here.
These are the important questions. We need to be asking these questions.
We certainly do.
Oh, it couldn't be more nutmeg. That's wonderful. That's
confirmed.
Oh yeah.
I'm so
Oh
glad.
yeah. It was my
Now
favorite
I
pour
know
of the
that's
day.
right.
No surprise there.
And full disclosure, when we got there, we got a flight and we had naughty and nice. And obviously, I enjoy this naughty beer very much. It's
Naughty.
great. However, I will concede I like the nice better.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought it was better,
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh.
Now and
mean-
Paige, not to get her in trouble or anything, but
Oh.
she did give us a little extra something
Yeah.
because well,
Okay.
and actually, which is funny because our server at lunch said you probably get a little something extra in the tasting.
Mhm.
So the tasting was four samples, but they have this new one called Manhattan Shine.
Okay.
and it
Oh
is
yeah.
based on a Manhattan cocktail.
Oh.
So it's
And
got
it
like
caught, yeah,
cherry,
yeah,
orange.
and it caught my eye in the gift shop before we ever had lunch or did a tasting or saw Santa Claus or any of that. And so I was like, what's that? So yes, so Paige had one in the refrigerator and so gave us all a little shot of that, which is to Amagang's benefit because did we not buy a 4-pack? I mean,
Well, I think
and
we
I'm
bought three.
yeah.
Three
So
total. I mean, we got a 4-pack of that, but we wanted we
Yeah.
walked away there with like
yeah.
3 4-packs as well as that little toxic rainbow thing you have.
Yes, but what I'm saying is
Oh my
by her
God.
taking one bottle and sharing it in a tasting,
Yes.
she made money for the company because we said I need to have more of this.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and we
Yeah.
did. So, and I'm sure we're not the only ones who have done such a thing.
Yes. We spent money there and no regrets whatsoever. It was a really great
Uh-uh.
experience.
Yep.
You should
Indeed.
not have any regrets.
Now we
And
touched.
doubling back to the Pop Fuji
Yes.
here,
Yeah.
the it's an unfiltered pilsner, so it's a Keller beer or Zwickel beer.
Zwickel.
You can see it's got a slight haziness to it. Very easy drinking,
Wow.
light, delightful.
Did you
Uh,
have that
I
style
don't know where the
in
name comes
Germany,
from.
or was that a German or Belgian?
We
Maybe?
ever had Keller beer while we were there?
I don't think we had a. No, we had. Did we have a
Not too
Keller?
many. Not
I
too
don't think
many.
we had
Yeah.
any. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
There probably was one in there, but
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keller beer essentially means, and a Zwickel are sort of the same thing. Zwickel
Yep.
can be a little lighter in alcohol. They
Yeah.
mean unfiltered.
Right.
Okay.
But it's nice about unfiltered beers. You get a lot of nice lacing
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
on
Yeah.
the glass.
So kind of hazy.
Kind of
Yeah.
haze, got a
Yeah.
bit of a
Yeah.
haze to it.
I
You
can see
know,
that. Yeah.
yeah, I
Nice.
like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes. This is a yes.
Oh,
Excellent.
we like a yes.
Now, I feel we've spent so much time on Amagang and of course Bavina. I just want to. So I'm not gonna. I know we're already over an hour at this point, but I do want to talk a
We're having a
little
good
bit
time.
about Catskill.
Okay.
It was great. I know we had been talking about visiting there a year or so ago. I sent you guys a picture of the houses we might have stayed in when we were there.
Right.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
The bar is pretty small,
Yeah.
but Shane was a great bartender. They have a food truck outside, their own food truck. So rather than have a kitchen, they just have their own truck. And
Huh.
we had some
Oh.
still so full from the night before. We shared a venison sausage
Yep.
Oh wow.
and had
Okay.
had some
Oh.
fries that we barely touched. And I think you
Yep.
took the rest of them home with you.
And barely
Uh,
touched the rest. Yeah.
but what was
Yep.
so essentially they have the Night Shine on tap, but they also had the Dixon Home on tap. But they
Okay.
were sharing the same tap.
Oh.
So it's like when I got
Excuse
there,
me?
Shane said, "I've got this thing you might like," and I said, "Oh yes, I'm familiar with the Dixon Home." And he gave me like a taste of it, and then someone else came in one of the night shines, so we had to go in back and switch the kegs again.
Oh, that's hilarious. You have
That's
to
very
switch every
funny.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was really
It's
glad.
not fun.
I loved having the Dixon Home so much in the can, so it was nice to get the draft experience as well.
Yeah.
That was another one where I think if those of you who are those beer vendors out there who are always looking forward to our release 10 a.m. on a Monday morning, I was a few hours late this week, and that was part of the reason why, because I had other things I had to do that evening, and we spent a little longer at Catskill than I thought we might have. So I hope
Fair.
for all of you,
Yeah.
be fucking for real was worth the delay.
But it was, yeah.
It was.
Yeah. I will say, and that sort of segues into what I was going to say with that. What this weekend showed to me is that going out and enjoying the craft beers isn't necessarily about getting blitzed on the beers.
Sure.
There's a real community there. Like, the two guys that we met at the tasting at Amagang, at least one of them has started following us on Instagram now, so his page. And it was lovely because when she wrapped up our pint or our tasting glasses, she wrote on the side of the bag, "The Beer Vengers," which was really sweet.
Aw.
We said to her, "Come to New York City. We'll show you around. We'll take you to great beer places." She's now following us on Instagram with a note that says, "If my boyfriend and I come down, we'll totally look you up."
She's very excited about visiting Single Cut.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
met great people at the beer dinner, and then we met great people at Catskills as well. And it was just nice to be with people who enjoy, a good beer and discussing why it's good. And yeah, it was a really lovely time of Oh, this beer bringing people together.
As
Yeah.
it should be. That's
Yeah.
what beer does.
Yeah. It's all
So
good.
what have you guys been up to the last week?
Oh, not much.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it is holiday. It's like the lead up to the holidays right now, which means that
Yeah, a little shopping.
I feel like everybody's sort of in like get things done mode as we try and make it to the end of the year. So unfortunately, very little beer venging on my part besides beer venging at home. I did have a lovely Midwest IPA from our friends at Urban Chestnut the other night that
Okay.
was supplied to me by the folks who pay us money to talk about beer and other things on the internet.
Yeah.
And occasionally we appear on their CBTBC Beercast. You
Yeah.
may recognize some voices on that one.
That's right. That's right.
BBC.
How-
I just did the last episode.
Exactly.
most recently.
that's right. And I will be doing it in January.
Nice.
Right
So
on.
so there's all sorts of good stuff happening in the Beer Avenger sphere, but really it's been a lot of home drinking for me, which is nothing that anyone should be ashamed of, because a home drink
Oh no.
is a delightful drink.
Well, I've
That's
been
why
put
they
in
put it in
charge.
cans and bottles.
Exactly.
And growlers. Yeah.
I was put in charge of beers for Christmas
Ah,
Ooh.
at Aunt
that's a
Mary's house.
Salem.
so-
That's a solemn, not Salem. Solemn responsibility.
I got 2 6-packs. Now, there's not a lot of beer drinkers, to be fair.
Mm.
But I got 2 6-packs of Russian River lagers, 2 different kinds, the STS and the Pale Lager.
Mhm.
And that's just going to be the base. I got a couple IPAs to throw on top of that. And then I got a bottle from the brewery,
Oh yeah,
and
they're great.
It's a gingerbread.
Ooh.
Actually got it at Trader Joe's of all places.
Oh, wow.
And I got a really nice barley wine from Grimm Brewing. I just picked it up
Oh.
last night. Grimm out of Brooklyn.
Mhm.
It's actually called a mild barley wine. So I'm like really looking forward to trying that.
What's the name of it?
And it's called Triple X, I believe.
Huh.
Okay.
Oh, hey, bud. And then I also got another bottle. This guy talked me into it last night. He's like, you got to get one of these Libertine bottles. Libertine Brewing, which is a California brewery, but they make these old-fashioned bottles that actual wild ale.
Huh.
Ooh. What's
And,
that?
a wild ale is it's a sour ale, but it's like wild fermented,
Ah, interesting.
Oh.
like open fermentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to trying that. I would have that on the show, but it's a 750 milliliter bottle. So
Yeah.
Mm.
That's bold.
for me to be here by myself drinking that,
That would be a one pour show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that'd be a one pour show for sure.
That's a bottle
That's
of wine
out of
right
San Luis Obispo, which is close to here.
Sure.
The Libertine Brewing. So I'll look for a smaller bottle from them sometime to bring it onto the show. But yeah, so I got some nice beers picked out, and I hope that my beer drinking family members, I should say, Cider Girls family, are ready to have some really nice beers. That Grimm is going to be good. That Libertine. Oh, and the Libertine, I didn't even know this. I grabbed this bottle. This guy's like, "Oh, this one is," and it was a complete stranger. I didn't know the guy. He's like, "Oh, you got to have these." So he said it was only $16. I'm like, okay. And so I grabbed the bottle, and it's got this.
They're your family too.
Oh my gosh! I mean, do we need the doors open now? The
Thank you,
dog is
Cider
licking my
Girl.
leg.
Cider
Anyway,
girl who looks like someone named Bricken. Yeah. Bricken's friend, Cider Girl.
It's called Double Fantasy. And
Oh.
so I did make the connection, but on the back of the bottle, there's this bizarre picture, a painting of John and Yoko, and their lips are like stretched.
Oh.
It's a wild photo. So I mean,
Wow.
I'll take a picture of it. Maybe next time we can share that. But I got some good beers for Christmas, so
Good choices.
I
Hawk.
hope I'm not driving.
Well, but at least we know you'll be drinking one of the two.
I will. Yeah, either way. Yeah. So yeah, good stuff. Hope everybody has a happy holiday, and
Mhm.
or had, we should say, at the end of this.
It's
Yeah,
true
they-
by the
Or
time
maybe
it
that'll
drops.
Happy
still be-
holidays to all of you.
We'll definitely be releasing this one before Three Kings Day, so the holidays will be still continuing.
There are
Yeah.
so
At this
many
point.
holidays this time of year. You
Al-
could celebrate as many
Also
of them
known
you
as,
want.
it was my job to learn this, so I'm going to say it. At one point, it was Three Kings Day, also known as Dia de los Tres Reyes Magos.
Mhm.
Oh,
Indeed.
Very
I
seductive.
like that.
Which
Yeah, that-
includes video from Letterman.
Well, that's another
Oh.
story altogether.
It's true.
Yeah, Three Kings Day, Epiphany, Dia de los Tres Reyes Magos. In any case,
The 12th day of Christmas.
there's lots of holidays. I did want to mention this is not exactly a huck up, but more of an extension.
Yes.
Last episode, Beer Wonder had a wonderful beer. There was a collaboration between Harlem Hops or not Harlem Hops, Harlem Brewing
Yep.
and Metier Brewing, and there
Mhm.
was another collaborator we did not
Oh
mention.
yes. Mhm.
And the only reason I mentioned this is because Huck had a beer from the Yakima Valley, and he was talking about it. And Bronze Thunder Twins is also a collaboration with Yakima Chief Hops.
Yes.
They're included in all of that. So if you see that, that is for all three. I also last week the actor Andre Brower died.
Mhm.
Young people know him probably more from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but I was a giant fan of his going all the way back to. I mean, I saw him in Glory when that came out, but the show Homicide is one of my very favorite shows of
Yeah,
all
Life on the
time.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's a good
and
show.
Captain, thanks to you, it's one of mine as well.
Yeah, I got to share it with her over. That was one of the many, inside experiences we have sharing the entire run of that series with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently his family had a relationship with Montclair Brewing.
Oh, nice.
Because I saw a thing on Instagram from them, condolences, etc. Because apparently his wife, Amy Brabson, who is also sometimes on Homicide as his wife on the show, she also played a number of judges as well as other things on various New York City based legal shows. But apparently she used to perform at the Montclair Brewery periodically.
Oh, no way.
So it was really nice to see have that that intersecting there. I think that's all I got this week.
Back
It's
to
been-
Libertine. I was just like
Yeah.
looking at their website. They have a bottle club you can join. I don't know if they ship outside the state, but this is a good deal. $65 gets you 3 bottles quarterly,
Okay.
Oh wow.
and $100 plus 6 bottles quarterly. This seems like a pretty good deal. I'm going to look into this.
Okay.
Of course, you have to go and you get half off flights and 15% off bottles of merchandise. So
Right, of course.
this is a neat place. I can't wait to try this beer. 'Cause I have not-
Figure that
I've
out by
not had them
January
before.
18th so we can all share it together.
Oh, hey.
That's true. Yes, there are adventures afoot in the Beer Avenger sphere.
Oh, that's
I,
right.
I do look forward to the live video, much as Belgium was a hard act to follow. So
Yeah,
Well,
we're going to measure up to that, but it'll be
No.
fun.
We went to Belgium and Germany. Our next Beer Avengers event, in-person event, is going to be in Fresno, California.
I
Yes.
look forward to watching.
We'll
And
see. I mean,
actually, we got some great breweries out here. We're gonna have a great time. Also, we're gonna have a wine. We're gonna go to a wine tasting as well.
oh
That sounds
really?
fun. Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's already an event in place. So
Okay.
Yeah, I think Beer Wonder forgot about that, so I thought it was. I remembered that you had said that before, and then when
sure
Beer
which
Wonder
night it is.
suggested that as the possible date, it's like I think that's the one cider girl mentions at the wine tasting. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that's
going to be a blast. I can't wait to have you all out here. Oh, pretty soon.
Yeah, it's less than a month away.
All right.
Well, the last 75 minutes have just flown by.
They do. That is what happens when you are bringing good beer and good friends together, which is a real holiday tradition. You know.
I think
that's
so.
what we do here at the Beer Avengers.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your holiday season. Have a happy new year. Best you can. Many of us might be saying "fuck 2023," but who knows what? Who knows
Well,
what 2024
yeah.
has in mind for
And
us? So that's
so good to
feel like-
see
I feel,
everybody.
I feel like every time you say "fuck" a certain year, the next year is hanging out around the corner saying "hold my beer."
Exactly.
For sure.
Good
Well,
point.
let's make 2024 a better
With
one.
that optimistic message, I think
Yes.
we're going to end it today.
Oh no.
I'll
24
drink
is
to
going to be totally fucked.
2024. Here it is.
Thanks
drink
everyone
to
for
2024.
listening. Fuck 2024. Thanks for listening. Huck. Play
Would you
us
do
out.
us the honor?
Yeah.
Oh, we're the beer Avengers, beer Avengers, beer Avengers.
We're the Beer Avengers.
We are.
That's what I heard.
Indeed.